We'll also make this short since this is just really first impressions, and we still have more cards to see that will be included in our Silver Tempest. So Incandescent Arcana is like a smaller set in Japan that has 68 new cards in it, and it will be part of our Silver Tempest set, but we still have other cards to get. So let's take a look at these. Scyther, Bulk, Yanma Bulk, Yamega Bulk, Carnivine Bulk. Okay, so we've got Superior V and V-Star. Nothing crazy on the Superior V. The V-Star has an attack and a V-Star attack. So the first attack, move any amount of energy from your Pokemon to your other Pokemon in any way you like. For Grass, colorless 190. I mean, that would be like good if we had important cards that were weak to grass, but it's a decent two-shotting V-Star. I feel like they're not trying to make Silver Tempest an impressive set because of their new designs that are coming next year, but I could also be wrong. Coiling Star does 60 for each energy attached to this Pokemon. Switch this Pokemon with one of your bench. Yeah, a Superior V-Star does not seem great. It's not like awful, but it's nothing to write home about. Once during your turn, you can heal 20 from each Pokemon. Radiant Serena. It could be good in a particular metagame of spread damage where that's actually mattering. But right now, when we still have a lot of V Pokemon, Gardevoir is better. Once EXs come out and Gardevoir is rendered useless against EXs, then Serena might be like the substitution for Radiant Gardevoir. Nothing on this Zarude. Oh my goodness, there's a Calyrex card? I didn't know Calyrex got its own card. It's not good, but I didn't know it got one. Reshiram V. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy and attach them to one of your Pokemon. And then White Blaze for 200. Again, it's not like absolute awful. Like, this could be good for something at some point, maybe, but like, it's probably not even average. It's probably below average. Yeah, it's not very good. Alolan Vulpix V and V-Star. The V does 60 for free if they're a V Pokemon. Okay, and V-Star 160. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon from Pokemon with abilities, and it goes through effects. That's interesting. That it goes through effects, and then you prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by Pokemon with abilities. Like, it counters, like, it like half counters 2 kinds of things at one time. So I really, really like that. And I have seen some decks in Japan just using like a 1/1 Alolan Vulpix V-Star in their Arceus decks. Pretty sure Path makes it so they can hit Vulpix. Yeah, I think it would. But that means the deck with abilities has to be running Path in the first place, so I don't know. It's interesting, though, that it hits 2 different things at once. I really appreciate that. And then Silver Snow Star for free does 70 times the number of your opponent's Pokemon V for free attack, and some boards just fill their board up with V. That's actually pretty good, too. Yeah, this is a pretty good card. I've seen it, like I said, like, very thin lines of it in decks from Japan so far. Makes sense. It honestly hits 3 different things. It hits decks that go wide with Vs, it hits decks with walls, and it hits decks with abilities. So a little bit of each. Low HP. Definitely low HP. Radiant Alakazam. Once during your turn, you may move up to 2 damage counters from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another of their Pokemon. Yeah, not bad. I mean, if you're two-shotting everything in the format, like, and you're doing excess damage on the front, you could just move 2 damage from the active to a benched Pokemon to make that a potential one-shot later. So I like Alakazam. It can also be fine for decks that want to spread damage and pick off little knockouts, like Sableye Lost Mine does. So yeah, Alakazam has some uses. I like it. I like it for the move the damage that you don't need on the active to a bench and then knock out the active so you're not wasting damage anymore. It makes it more efficient. Yeah, the amount of radiants that are like pretty good is really nice. And it's not that I wish they didn't print Radiant Greninja, but Radiant Greninja is just so good. This Jinx is interesting. If this Pokemon's knocked out by a V Pokemon's attack, your opponent doesn't take a prize card. And side damage does 10+10 more for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. A lot of these cards have such a small lifespan though, because they say things like V Pokemon and EXs come out the next set. So if EXs are immediately a large part of the metagame, a lot of these cards lose their viability. But this is a neat card. It's worth considering. We have the Kirlia with trade, essentially. Discard a card to draw 2, and then the Gardevoir that also has it. I'm sure this will be good for GLC. If anything, this is just a replacement for Cinccino when Cinccino rotates, and then you can also you can do it like evolve into this and discard draw 2. Or like you could discard draw 2 and then immediately evolve it into Gardevoir and then discard draw 2. Oh, the Mewtwo's good? Oh, the Mewtwo's good for GLC. 90 damage, and then if your opponent has 3 or fewer prize cards remaining, it does 90 more. So it does 180. That could also be good in Mirage Gate Sableye decks. I think. No, Snorlax is always better. Never mind. Mawile V and V Star. So Mawile V Star, Sudden Eater for colorless. 90 plus if this Pokemon moved from your bench to the active this turn, does 90 more. Okay, so 180 for a DTE, 160 for a DTE, meh. Star Rondo ability. During your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may use this ability. Switch this Pokemon with your active, then switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon with the... Oh, so you get a free Guzma with this V-Star power. So that's interesting. But it has to be specifically Mawile that comes up. It's fine. It's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. When you play this to evolve, you can search your deck for up to 2 supporter cards. A little slow for now, but not... It's actually, again, considerable. This attack does 20 down. Okay, that's bulk. Not good. Radiant Jirachi. If this Pokemon's knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, search your deck for up to 3 cards and put them into your hand. And then Stellar Doom, flip 2 coins at both heads. Your opponent's active Pokemon is knocked out. Huh. It's cute. I don't think it'll actually see competitive success, but it's cute. I like the theme. When you evolve this, search your deck for 3 basic energy and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. I think we have better energy acceleration right now, but in a vacuum, this is actually super strong that you get to like just put it down and then search your deck for 3 energy and slap them down. Like, If you heard about this card years ago, you'd be like, that's broken. But it's actually not. This Revenge is not bad. It does 120 if your Pokemon were knocked out last turn. And just because of Mirage Gate, I like look at some of these single prize Pokemon a little bit more optimistic, but it probably won't see play. Mm. 220 if it has a special energy attached. I don't think it's good. Oh, if this card's in your discard pile, you may put this card onto your bench. If you do, attach up to 4 basic energy cards from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And if you use this ability, your turn ends. It does 100 damage plus 30 more for each type of basic energy attached to this Pokemon. So if you have 4 different types, it does 220. But you had to end your turn to do the Rebirth Flame thing. Oh, yeah, as a good turn 1 play for Darkrai. A good turn 1 play for a deck that already isn't that great. But it can be comboed with Thornton. Capture Aroma, flip a coin head, search your deck for an evolution. If tails, search your deck for a basic. A lot of times you're going to be wanting to hit either basic or evolution. The problem is there's very few instances I feel where you're going to want, where either of them is going to be exactly what you want. Like, oh, I can get a basic or an evolution in this case, so I don't mind what I roll. Sometimes you're going to roll heads and get something that you don't even need just to go get it in your deck. And sometimes you'll roll tails and go get something you don't need. So I don't think this is actually good. Emergency Jelly at the end of this turn. If this Pokemon has 30 HP or less remaining, heal 120 from it, then discard this card. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is probably bad. Serena, choose 1. Discard 3 cards from your hand and draw until you have 5. Switch one of your opponent's bench to V Pokemon with the... Oh, so this is almost a Better Boss's Orders for like 1 set. I remember people talking about this. You can either have a mediocre draw effect or a very specific boss. Urasode Girl, search your deck for a basic and put it onto your bench, and then you can switch it. I don't think that's good with all the switching cards we currently have. They're just better. You don't need to play a supporter. Wallace is bad. V-Guard Energy is interesting, but again, it's good for like 1... It's great for 1 set. You take 30 less from V Pokemon, but then V Pokemon are no more after this set. So, nothing too crazy. I think my favorite cards out of this set are Alakazam and Alolan Vulpix V-Star.